pigs gone wild, researchers found that Texas has the worst feral hog problem in the entire country.
The phenomenon of pigs gone wild has reached a boiling point, with researchers identifying Texas as the epicenter of the nation's feral hog crisis. However, a strange anomaly emerged across Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Feral hogs started vanishing. These weren't just a few isolated strays. Entire Sounders groups of 30 to 40 animals were disappearing from counties they had dominated for decades. Wildlife agencies were baffled. There were no signs of human activity, traps remained untouched, and not a single shot had been fired by hunters. Something was systematically culling America's most destructive, invasive species, yet no one could identify the culprit. This mysterious predator was reportedly killing 20 to 30 pigs 3 to 4 times a week. To investigate, a 2014 research team in Blanco County, Texas, set up a dense grid of trail cameras deep in hog territory. 3 weeks later, the footage they retrieved was so shocking that they evacuated the entire site within 48 hours. This wasn't due to personal danger, but because the killer was so unexpected and valuable that they couldn't risk a single human scent disrupting its behavior. The video revealed an animal no one suspected, executing coordinated strikes with the precision of a military unit, a discovery poised to revolutionize the war against feral hogs. To understand why this footage stunned wildlife agencies, one must understand the history of the animal the cameras were watching. Feral hogs are an invasive monster resulting from a catastrophic mistake made 500 years ago. In the 16th century, Spanish explorers released domestic pigs along the Gulf Coast to serve as a self-sustaining meat supply for future expeditions. At the time, it seemed like a brilliant survival strategy, but the pigs thrived in the wild, breeding freely and expanding into territories they were never intended to occupy. The situation escalated in the early 1900s when wealthy Europeans imported Eurasian wild boars specifically for sport hunting. These were not docile farm pigs. They were aggressive, lean, and built for the harshest European forests. When these imported boars interbred with escaped domestic pigs, the result was a super hybrid. This breed is faster, meaner, harder to kill, and reproduces at a terrifying rate. A single sow can have 2 litters a year with up to 12 piglets each. Left unchecked, their population can double every few months, growing faster than native deer and mirroring the catastrophic rabbit boom that nearly ruined Australia's ecosystem in the 19th century. According to 2024 USDA data, approximately 6.9 million feral hogs now roam the U.S. Texas alone is home to 2.6 million, present in 253 out of 254 counties only. El Paso has been spared. There is almost no square mile in Texas without their tracks. These animals possess tusks over 6 inches long, can sprint at 30 miles per hour, leap 4 0-inch fences, and smash through heavy wooden doors with ease. Their skin is over an inch thick, reinforced by dense fat that makes light-caliber ammunition nearly useless. Veteran hunters emphasize that unless you hit a vital spot, the shot is meaningless. The hog will run, remember the encounter, and learn to avoid your traps and timing. They have even been seen shredding metal trash bins as if they were paper. They combine raw physical power with an intelligence that far exceeds what most people expect from a pig. The cost of this crisis is immense. In Irving, Texas, hogs have torn up golf courses, residential lawns, and even severed underground fiber optic cables, knocking out internet for whole neighborhoods. At a Texas military airfield, a group of hogs charging the runway forced pilots to abort takeoffs to avoid collisions. In Williamson County, a farmer lost 24 acres of corn, valued at $40,000 in just one night to a sounder of 30 hogs. In Brazos County, their deep rooting caused underground water pipes to collapse, leading to $60,000 in repairs. Texas A&M and the National Wildlife Research Center estimate Texas's annual damage at over $500 million, while the nationwide figure is a staggering $3 billion, and rising as the hogs expand into new states. The destruction isn't limited to property. Feral hogs are a massive threat to the environment and public health. Because they lack sweat glands, they wallow incessantly in streams and swamps. This behavior releases waste directly into the current and churns contaminated soil into vital waterways. In Alabama, water samples from hog-dense areas revealed bacterial levels 40 times higher than clean zones. These animals are mobile reservoirs for over 30 documented diseases, including parasitic worms and dangerous bacteria that can infect humans and livestock. The CDC has reported multiple cases of hunters contracting severe infections simply from handling carcasses without protection. In one extreme case, a hunter's brucella infection was so resistant it required months of aggressive antibiotic treatment. Furthermore, their aggression is a real danger. While formal attack records are relatively low, they are brutal when they occur. In 2019, a Texas woman was tragically killed by feral hogs outside her own home. In 2023, a massive boar in China broke into a factory and mauled a worker so severely he required over 100 stitches. These are not shy forest animals. They are 300-pound predators with 6-inch tusks that will charge anything they perceive as a threat. With 7 million free-roaming hogs, many wonder why they aren't harvested for food. There are 3 devastating reasons. First is disease. 1/3 of Texas hogs test positive for brucella, nearly 20% carry pseudorabies, and their parasite levels are 15 times higher than farm-raised pigs. Second is legal restriction. Federal regulations prohibit the commercial sale of any meat not processed in approved, inspected facilities, preventing a viable supply chain. Third is the taste. Because these animals scavenge on garbage and rotting carcasses, their meat is lean, tough, and carries a pungent odor that most Americans find intolerable. While wild boar is a delicacy in parts of Europe, in the US, it is considered a biological liability. This left the crisis feeling unsolvable. Millions of intelligent, fast, and tough animals that no one wants to buy and few can successfully trap or hunt. Traditional management has proven to be an exercise in futility. A rancher named Mr. Norman, who owns 740 acres in Texas, tried everything from cage traps to fermented corn bait and hunting dogs. Each time, he merely pushed the hogs onto neighboring land, only for them to return later, smarter, and more cautious. He compared conventional methods to trying to stop a flood with a handheld sponge. Even hunting dogs aren't a permanent solution, as mother hogs will charge and injure the dogs to protect their young, leaving ranchers with massive vet bills. Bruce Leland, a veteran researcher, admitted that conventional tools simply aren't powerful enough. Catching a few hundred is useless when the survivors breed dozens more by the next season. It's a biological reset button that fires every breeding cycle. The breakthrough came when Dr. John Tomake and his team expanded their camera grid across 4 more counties. Dr. Tomake reportedly watched the initial footage a dozen times before he could believe it. A 30-pound coyote executing a coordinated strike on a species 10 times its size. When his department head saw the video, the first concern was logistical, ensuring no one disturbed the site. The footage confirmed this wasn't a fluke. It was a learned, accelerating pattern. Coyotes had developed a sophisticated system. They always approach a hog nest from downwind, crawling on their bellies through the grass to listen. They wait sometimes for over an hour for the mother hog to leave and forage. The moment she is gone, the strike team activates. One coyote acts as a lookout while a second identifies the weakest piglet. In a synchronized burst, 3 or 4 coyotes rush the nest. The striker seizes a piglet by the neck, and the entire pack vanishes into the trees within 5 seconds. By the time the mother hog can react, only paw prints remain. What truly shocked the research team wasn't just the hunting itself, but the level of planning involved. Some groups of coyotes were seen performing what the researchers labeled as dry runs. In these instances, the coyotes would approach a hog nest, spend time mapping out the mother hog's specific patrol patterns, and then retreat without ever making a move. They would wait hours, only returning from a completely different direction once the environmental conditions had shifted in their favor. Furthermore, they actually rotate roles between different strikes. The coyote acting as a lookout during one raid might become the primary striker in the next. This behavior is not just instinct, it is learned, rehearsed, and highly tactical. Prior to 2010, there was virtually no documented evidence of coyotes exhibiting this level of coordination anywhere on Earth. The laboratory evidence soon buried any remaining skepticism. Dr. Michael Bodenchuk, the state director for USDA Wildlife Services in Texas, described this as one of the most remarkable behavioral adaptations he had seen in over 20 years. According to his colleagues, his reaction to the synchronized attack footage shifted from disbelief to genuine awe. At Fort Hood, researchers captured 18 coyotes from areas with high hog density and analyzed their stomach contents. Nearly a third of them contain fresh, undigested tissue from feral hog piglets, not scavenged meat, but fresh kills. In Georgia, wildlife biologist Sarah Cunningham found piglet DNA in over 30% of coyote waste samples across several counties. She described the chilling feeling of realizing that coyotes were not just scavengers, but were systematically hunting the next generation of hogs on a scale no one thought possible for a 30-pound predator. Ecologists believe this evolution was born of necessity. Humans had stripped away traditional food sources over decades through development and the decline of small game. Consequently, the massive surplus of feral hog piglets became the most available protein source in the environment. Coyotes didn't just adapt, they specialized. They even restructured their daily schedules, shifting their hunting times to early dawn. This timing is strategic because early dawn is when mother hogs are most physically exhausted after a night of rooting. During this window, their reaction times are slower and their awareness is dull, making them vulnerable to the surgical precision of the coyotes. This is a perfect example of nature solving a crisis that no government budget or expert team could design. In Texas, the rate of piglets taken by coyotes doubled in the last decade, leading to a 20% drop in hog populations in parts of Oklahoma and Georgia, all without a single human bullet being fired. However, while nature was providing this free solution, humans were actively paying to destroy it. From 2017 to 2020, multiple states implemented coyote bounty programs, offering up to $75 for every dead coyote. Ranchers and recreational hunters killed tens of thousands of them across the South, operating under the false assumption that fewer coyotes meant safer livestock. No one in wildlife management offices bothered to cross-reference coyote removal rates with feral hog data. They missed the obvious question: what happens to the hogs when you kill the only animal controlling their survival? The answer hit like a freight train. In one Texas county, after the coyote population was cut by 60%, the feral hog population tripled in just 3 years. The piglets that coyotes would have intercepted survived to adulthood and produced their own massive litters. Farms that had seen improvement were suddenly hit worse than ever before. Dr. Marcus Friedman, a wildlife management consultant who had been monitoring the data on coyote-hog interactions, later described the rollout of those bounty programs as being akin to watching someone drain the moat while their own castle was under siege. When he finally presented the correlation data at a regional wildlife conference, the atmosphere in the room turned deathly silent. One state official reportedly put his head in his hands upon realizing the truth. They had been using taxpayer dollars to sabotage their own most effective weapon against the hog invasion. This revelation was more than just embarrassing. It forced a total strategic pivot. The old-school approach of placing bounties on everything that moved was exposed as not only ineffective, but actively destructive. The officials who once championed these programs went quiet, and a new, more integrated strategy began to emerge. Authorities began pouring resources into what is now known as the modern trap revolution. These are not the simple wooden cages of the past. These are smart traps equipped with high-definition infrared cameras, solar panels, and wireless links to smartphone applications. A farmer can now monitor a live video feed from their couch and wait until an entire sounder, sometimes 30 to 40 animals, is safely inside the enclosure before pressing a single button on their phone to drop the gate. This is a critical development because hogs are so intelligent that if you only capture part of a group, the survivors learn to avoid traps permanently and will even communicate that danger to other hogs. With smart traps, there are no survivors to spread the warning. All of this leads to one final lingering question. Given the severity of this crisis and the billions of dollars in damage, what do you believe is the true reason the government continues to block the commercial sale of wild hog meat? Is it purely about the health risks we discussed, or is there something deeper in the regulatory system preventing a market-based solution? We want to hear your perspective, so please drop your thoughts and answers in the comments section below. If you found this deep dive into the feral hog war insightful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. You won't want to miss our next video, where we uncover a new discovery that even the veteran researchers were completely unprepared for.